I was doing my own personal research about Israeli history when I came across this wonderful organization whose goal is to educate the public about Israel. My first physical experience with Stand With Us was the high school conference, which was in August, and it helped fill in the gaps in my knowledge about Israeli history, and it also connected me with about 90 other passionate and diligent students from around the country. My dad was born in Iran and moved to Israel when he was 2 years old, and my mother's parents moved to Israel and she was born there.
I grew up in a conservative Jewish household, 2 loving parents and a sister. Always grew up with a really strong Jewish identity and pro-Israel connection. Went to Jewish school all growing up, and it was a really big part of my entire childhood. And my grandparents perished in the Holocaust. I've had family that survived through the Holocaust. I went to Poland and learned about the death camps. I went to these concentration camps. It was a really powerful experience learning about one of the worst tragedies that the Jews have ever faced, and then going to the Jewish homeland and being able to celebrate my incredible heritage, culture. I first got connected with Stand With Us after my Birthright trip. I worked with some of the Jewish organizations on campus as a Beyond Birthright intern. What that meant was I recruited the next bus of Birthright participants, as well as put on Jewish and Israel-oriented programming on my campus. A lot of that programming happened out of a collaboration with Stand With Us and the incredible resources and advice that it could provide. And at the end of the year, I was given the opportunity to apply to be an Emerson Fellow and work within Stand With Us to participate and put on that programming at a higher level. The Emerson Fellowship has given me some really incredible resources, tools, and working with my campus coordinator, Matt, and some other really incredible people at Stand With Us. I really feel like it's had a formative impact on my entire Israel narrative and relationship, not just in college, but for the rest of my life.
My first encounter with anti-Semitism was with my sister. It was Shabbat, so we were walking to synagogue in our fancy clothes when we heard someone from a car next to us shout out anti-Semitic slurs. So we turned around, we looked, and they started honking the horns at us, like yelling things like Zionists are Nazis and Jews are pigs. And yeah, that was a very traumatizing experience for me and her. In 2014, I went to Israel to have my bat mitzvah. 3 days later, the 2014 war began. It was the first time I personally experienced a red alert, the first time I had to run into a stairwell with the rest of the building, reading Tehillim through puffy eyes from being jerked awake. This was an experience that really rattled me, and I will never forget it. I internalized all of these anti-Semitic experiences, and they are what motivated me to become active and to educate my community about Israel and Judaism.
As a Stand With Us Emerson Fellow, I have access to really incredible resources, including the research team and the Stand With Us legal team that support me in case I need to combat misinformation on my campus. I really learned the inherent relationship between anti-Semitism and anti-Israel sentiment.
The tools that you gain through the Stand With Us high school internship will help you educate any community that you're in about Israel as well as anti-Semitism. Stand With Us equipped me with the skills, support, and confidence that I needed in order to become the best educational advocate for Israel that I could be.
Thank you to Stand With Us for giving me the opportunity to be a voice for Israel on my campus and in my community.
Thanks to your support, I've become a defender of Israel.